This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Alongside the lovely and talented Royden Ogletree, who, see, here's the thing. We do this split screen thing now so that you can't tell how I belong in the friggin' Shire. And even in the split screen, because Royden's camera, like my camera, Jack talked about this, my camera is pointed down.
Yeah.
Your camera has to point up. And so it's just another way of God telling me he loves me less.
Well, that's not just pure height, Paul. Yeah. Like, your camera is mounted on, like, above a door frame. And Royden's is mounted on a tripod standing on the floor. Yeah. So your camera is taller than Royden's camera.
No, we don't have to go behind this. We don't have to tell you inside baseball here. It's just the way that it is, you know?
Royden is plenty happy for the world to know that God loves him more than me. Like, he's plenty happy for that.
Look, I wasn't going to say it, but, I say my prayers every night.
I believe that God gives us all gifts. Mm-hmm. But those come with a cost. Like, you can do this thing well, but you're also going to be 5'7". Like, that's...
Well, I'm going behind the scenes. So this is Paul's camera.
Yeah.
That's on a tripod.
Yeah.
And then here's set.
Hi.
Sorry, that was Royden's camera. And Paul's camera's up there in the corner right by the basket next to the TV. Yeah. So that's the situation we're at. It is definitely like 2 feet taller.
Yeah, oops.
Thanks for playing that, Paul.
Sorry. Yeah. So
this is a great intro to talk about college football.
It is. No, it's great. Royden, I missed you last week. I was in Palm Desert, California, Palm Springs area, which I told everybody yesterday is lovely. I feel like
was it like 1,000 degrees?
It was. It was hot. Yeah. Here's the thing. But when you are drunk in a pool, I mean, so here's what you do. Here's my key to a low, because everything's cheaper in Palm Springs this time of year because the snowbirds are gone. They're thrilled to have you. Their hotel rooms are cheaper. The Airbnbs are cheaper. Everything's cheaper because they're thrilled that people are there.
Everyone from Michigan has gone back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With it, like, so here's the deal. I'm from here. Like,
whatever.
100-degree heat doesn't bother me, especially if the humidity is 77% less.
Yeah, my wife's in California, actually, was in Riverside, California, where our friends are, and it's going to be hot. It's going to be like 90 degrees, and I was kind of like, kiss my ass a little bit.
No, I was in, and this is almost 15 years ago now, but I was in the Bay Area in Moraga for a wedding. And I left here and flew to Las Vegas and then went to the Bay Area. So I left 104 degrees.
Yeah.
I flew to 112 degrees. And then I flew to 81 degrees. And my buddy's mother-in-law, when we go into their house, she's like, I've got to apologize for this heat wave. I'm sorry you guys are here. And I was like, ma'am, I appreciate your sympathy, but I could put on a jacket right now and not sweat. It's fine.
It's perfect, actually.
Totally fine. 80, like I said, if it was 81 degrees for a high today, do you have people would be canceling work in the summer. They'd be like, well, hey, we've got this cold front.
You have to go outside.
People would be like, can we have this meeting in the park? Yeah. Like, that's what they would do. Like, hey, let's all go out and have lunch today? Let's just pick up food and then we'll go to a park and eat
Woodstock.
And do a team
building.
We're
going to do Woodstock again.
They would be thrilled with it. Thrilled.
No, it is kind of like. It's a whole different set of circumstances because of the humidity over there, but you've seen the headlines of England's experiencing a historic heat wave, and the heat wave is 82 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
it's a whole different, they don't have air conditioning.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
I'm kind of oof. You know? Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is, it's just perspective, I guess. But I remember so you're there and it's a dry heat and it's nice. So go to, if you can take the heat, and look, you get up early enough in the morning to go play golf. It's 80 degrees, but you're in the clubhouse by the time it's 95 or 100.
Did you see anyone famous?
See anyone famous? No.
Yeah, okay.
Not just, again, they're all gone.
Right.
They're not there.
They're not worried about the desert in the summer.
They're not going to be there. only if they like got arrested for cocaine and need to hide out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I can't be seen in Hollywood, so I'm just gonna go to my little Palm Springs house up here.
Right.
Like, that's the only way that they would be there. Now, every street is named after someone famous. I think I sent you a picture of. Did I send you the picture of Adam West's
Yeah, you did.
star on the, like, they have like a walk of fame.
They have their own walk of fame?
They have a walk of fame there in Palm Springs because so many famous people have lived there.
Right.
And like Adam West was the one I took a picture of. And like there's people like Bing Crosby and Bob Hope and like legendary people compared to Adam West. But
I need Batman.
But it's Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, again, Bing Crosby sang White Christmas. That's all great. But was he Batman?
Yeah.
No, he was not. So
Did he fight off a shark with shark spray?
yeah, he didn't do that.
Jack, do you know about that? Have you seen that? The old Batman clip from the 60s of where he fights a shark?
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah. It's the original Batman movie, as a matter of fact, that he does that
yeah.
in. They did like a feature-length movie with all the villains in it at one time.
Yeah.
And like they had it was a lair. So it was like a lair, and it was like the Penguin's lair, and it was there on the seaside there in Gotham City, which the cool thing about comic book towns is they all have their sides, they're so big.
Yeah.
Like there's a desert side, and there's also a
This is
seaport.
Pittsburgh, but it's
there's
also-
some mountains. Yeah. It's
also San
London.
Diego,
It's
yeah.
also San Diego and London and Chicago, like all these other things. But like, so they're there at the port in Gotham City or whatever, the little, thing. And, a shark attacks him, and he just happens to have shark repellent on the belt.
Shark spray.
Yeah. Which was the whole thing about like, there's a lot of Batman fans who hate that version of Batman because they feel like, whoever like decided to write the series is like, this comic book's hilarious.
Yeah. Notoriously hilarious Batman.
Yeah, it's hilarious. We're gonna do this. So, but yeah, anyway, getting to the point. But I did love it. So you go there, but here's the thing: you go down at the morning, about 10:30.
Yeah.
You go get your chair at the pool, and then you get a little sun. You get in the water. You get out, you dry off, you get back in, the waiter comes by and it's like, what would you like? And you're like, another one of the thing I just had.
Yeah.
I'm here for 6 days. Let's go on down the menu until we've hit them all.
Like Kevin McAllister.
I thought about that like when I got my
I'm not driving.
Yeah, when I got like that bill, I thought like as an adult, I think my room service habits are greatly reflected by Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2.
80s and 90s TV shows.
Yeah, like we're like, you know what? Room service exists. I'm going to use it. Don't care how much it costs.
Absolutely.
I'll figure it out later.
Oh man, we went to a concert in Austin. The cost of drinks, I just money didn't exist.
Yeah.
In Austin.
You're
I
like,
was
you're just going to
you know
go.
what?
And then you go back and you're like, why do I have $300 less this time this month than I did last month? And
we didn't even budget for it. It's like fake money.
You're like, well, I mean, like, usually, hold on, wait a minute. What did I do? Oh, yeah, that. That thing. That one day.
Instant regret.
Yeah. So, anyway, all right, let's talk about, we're going to start out, I know there's some people who are going to hate this. We're going to start out with video game news.
Love it.
Video game news today, big video game news, in the run-up to the release of the EA Sports College Football 25, they've released the top 25 toughest places to play in the game.
Which is a game feature that is previously carried over from other features that does in this more so than I think it will in the last games. It affected your play, the actual gameplay. This is supposed to be really dynamic how it affects your gameplay as well too. Like you can't see the plays, your quarterback gets scrambled or gets rattled. Yeah. It's a whole thing. So I think this is actually going to play into.
Yeah.
And the better you do, the better your team's home field advantage gets, obviously.
Yeah. Now, they didn't go off the beaten path too much for this. I have a couple that I could not tell you about. As far as just like watching a game there. One of them is Williams-Brice Stadium where South Carolina plays. And I can just tell you that might be just a bit of an SEC bias on the part of EA Sports because based on South Carolina's record over the last forever, it doesn't seem like it's too hard for people to go in there and win.
No, it seems like they've had pretty good success.
Yeah, so them at 15.
In fact, A&M tried to make Kenny Trill a Heisman candidate off of one of those games?
Yeah. It's like to put it at 15 over Lane. Like, here's what it's immediately over. It's immediately over. The five that it's over are Michigan, Lane Stadium, which is Virginia Tech, Rice-Eccles, Utah, DKR, which can, like, here's the thing. Darrell K. Royal has earned 19th, but, like, when they're good, it's a really tough place to play.
Well, it's a 110,000 seat stadium, right?
Yeah, it's a 110,000 seat stadium. The problem is that they kind of let it lapse for a while before they made the giant vagina that people run out of.
The uterus.
The uterus that people run out of. All that. Like, before that happened.
The off-center uterus, by the way. It's not quite on line with the field goal post, and that irritates me every time I see it. Yeah. Every time.
Just a little bit. Yeah. Royden Ogletree, failed gynecologist, still knows that. And then Kinnick Stadium in Iowa, which is a very, very hard place to play.
Right.
And so Notre Dame, Michigan State, Razorback Stadium, again, that's more of a 70s and 80s thing than a now thing. Boise State with the blue turf, Albertson Stadium.
Really
and
doing
then
a lot of favors
Wade Davis.
Blue
but
turf there.
the SEC, like, the SEC has almost all their teams in here, right? Almost all of their teams.
Like, who's missing? So we have the top five is Kyle Field, Memorial Stadium for Alabama, LSU, Tiger Stadium, Ohio Stadium for Ohio State, and Sanford Stadium for Georgia.
Yeah, I buy, like, the top 14. I buy completely.
In whatever order you want to put them in.
I've been to a bunch of them.
They're at 12 of 16, by the way.
What?
12 of 16. So they've
got about half the list.
Yeah, 12 of 16. So, like, Vanderbilt's not on there. Kentucky's not on there. Missouri's not on there. And then,
who are the SEC teams?
Who am I leaving out? Who's been unfortunate enough to also Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Mizzou, and Ole Miss is not on there.
Right.
Ole Miss is not on there, which the Grove is a lovely, lovely, lovely place.
They've never lost a party.
Yeah, they've never lost a party, but maybe it's not as intimidating as some of these other places are loud. I like some of it, like giving the SEC all of these to me is a little bit like, again, I'm not going to nitpick. I'm sure there's some legitimacy to it, but the bottom line is that, like, there are some places that are really hard to play, like Iowa State. To me, should be on this list. Manhattan, Kansas should be on this list.
Dude, the bounce house, when they're moving and the stadium literally shakes.
Yeah.
UCF.
So bounce house should be on the list. BYU should be on the list.
Yeah.
Like, those are all really tough places to play that are, in my mind, tougher to play than Davis Wade or Williams Bryce. And I get it's an SEC, it's a different environment and all of that. But, like, I mean, if you look at some of, like, Lane Stadium where Virginia Tech plays, they go nuts. Like, that is absolute atmosphere.
Is that Enter Sandman? Do they do Enter Sandman?
Yeah. That's what they do. Yeah, they've got these great.
Okay, so they have Camp Randall with jump around and everything else.
So they have that. But I will push back on some of these because, to me, I think you left out large swaths of things. Unfortunately, what's unfortunate for Miami is the Orange Bowl doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, the Orange Bowl was a really hard place to play.
They play in that hollow shell of a Hard Rock Stadium now.
Yes,
where it's
so right now it's a pro stadium, so it doesn't have the same oomph.
Well, it's also they can't, no offense to them. I mean, I guess when Miami is rocking, like, they could get a number of fans in it, but they can't fill it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, Miami's a small school. And while it's the team of the city, it's still a fairly small school.
Yeah, it's not their fault, really. I mean, besides the fact that they haven't been Miami of late, really, they just don't have the numbers to, like, fill that stadium to a capacity like a Dolphins game.
No, but they, like if they built a stadium that was like Autzen Stadium, which was reflective of the size of the university, the size of the area.
Yeah.
Autzen Stadium's a really tough place to play, due in large part to the fact that, they've built it for the perfect size. They're almost always going to be sold out, and it's always going to be loud, and you're not going to have, like, UCLA is made to play in the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. Well, even though UCLA is a much bigger school, you still can't fill up they fill up the Rose Bowl for two things that they do at the Rose Bowl. The Super Bowl, which they will never do there again, and the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
That's it. And UCLA doesn't play in either of those most of the time. They'll never play in the Super Bowl, and the Rose Bowl might as well be
Yeah.
It might as well be a it might as well be a unicorn rodeo to them. Like, that's what it is. So,
I think some additions, like you could add more Big Ten schools in here. I think Oregon's starting to bump up there. I mean, obviously,
I would put Husky Stadium over Davis Wade, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And, where I say Husky Stadium, but I would put Seattle over that.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. I think that like you get a little bit, it looks like they got to the bottom of the list, like, oh, we need a G5 school in here. Let's make sure that we do the blue turf because it's a tough place to play and it's iconic. But
they get rowdy at Appalachian State Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
I mean,
why do you think North Carolina legislature is trying to pass a law to make sure that UNC goes there?
Yeah.
Because if you said we never had to go again here the rest of our lives, North Carolina and NC State would be like, sorry, you can come to our place.
I will say, don't forget the cowbells at Mississippi State.
No, I was gonna mention that. I mean, Mississippi State for that reason is like a tough place to play, and like. Look, I guarantee Ole Miss doesn't like playing there in the Egg Bowl.
And before I see it, Barry Crawford. Before you say it, Oklahoma State not being on this over almost all the ones
with the paddles,
with the paddles and the way that place goes is nearly criminal. Williams Brice over Boone Pickens. Are you nuts?
This is also really reflective for Arkansas too of like. This is the only show in town for Arkansas, so they're going to be rowdy and up. But it's like they've been like 6-5 for the past.
Well, and how many teams that they play regularly have a hard time beating Arkansas there? Same with South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, I get Arkansas Classic. South Carolina has not won anything ever. They don't I'm not trying to knock the Gamecocks. It's a cool school and everything. Yeah. Columbia's a great place and the stadium's cool and all, but the 16th, 15th toughest place to play? Come on, EA. You're doing really good, but I think that, maybe rope in some more college football people.
Right.
And, as opposed to game developers.
Who did they talk to?
Who did they talk to about that? Or did they just go, well, we got to make sure that, half this list is the SEC.
Right.
And then the thing is you're eliminating, And look, I went to school in the ACC. Clemson, FSU, they're in there. Virginia Tech is in there. Pitt, I can't really speak to. Look, I'll tell you, Morgantown also is a really tough. Morgantown, there's a lot of places
I went and covered the Thursday night game where Baylor dropped a couple seasons last season when Shapen got hurt.
Yeah,
and it was nuts. They had been drinking all day. Yeah. And it was for a night game on a Thursday. Yeah. And brother, you couldn't hear yourself thinking that.
They cancel those are the schools that are look, we're gonna cancel class on Thursday. And they'll say classes after 2 p.m. are canceled. And most professors are listen, we're meeting at noon. I'm not pretending 2 p.m. is any different.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm no. And some of them are probably well, I'm canceling. If all these kids are going to go drink, so am I.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, they start singing John Denver, and it's just oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. Those places are fun. But I will tell you, Boone Pickens Stadium needs to be on here because they have one of the most, and I wouldn't even call it, it's intimidating, sure, but the paddles is more of a thing that is just for the opponent. So it's like vuvuzelas. It's so incessant and annoying if you're on that sideline. I've been standing on the sideline towards the end of one of those games where they're winning and they're just whap. And for the 7 minutes that I was there, I was this is consistent and
I'm gonna get a migraine.
I cannot wait for when this thing hits zeros, they're gonna leave, and that's the best thing because it's bothering me. I'm not begrudging them that, but if I just stand there the whole game, every time I came off the field and I'm standing there oh man, we just punted, we missed a field goal, and then you just hear whap, 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 and you're okay, well, let me get myself together.
Yeah.
Let me, okay, next drive's going to be better. And you're all right, Royden, come over here. All right, hey, listen, when we throw that corner route the next time, you get under, and you're hold on,
sorry,
hold on, what? Okay, yeah, underneath the, is this not bothering you? And you're like, just try to ignore it. You're like, it's got to be bothering you, right?
Yeah.
It's bothering all of us. And then like, that's the conversation is like, I wish they would stop.
You're hearing it in your sleep when you go back to your hotel.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things. So I'm sure that'll be in the game. I just think it should be rated higher.
Yeah.
You know,
what do you think would be a bottom 25? Say we don't have to go through like 25, but like, you know, I mean, Rice, you know,
Rice, poor Rice. They have
Vanderbilt's been bad.
Yeah, Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. I didn't want to, you know.
Oh, the one on MLK over here?
Yeah. It's had its moments, but.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. I do think it's like that would be like an in-between.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
It's in the middle because.
Look, I'll tell you, Amon Carter needs to be better.
Yeah.
Amon Carter needs to, Baylor and TCU have the same problem. It's like.
Fair weather.
Yeah, it's more like. We're not entertained. Bring us another jester. Bring us another jester.
I went to a Baylor TCU game when they both wore good, and it was that 2019 game when Baylor was somehow still undefeated and went to double overtime.
Yeah,
it just was half full.
It's just like,
how is that possible?
Yeah, it's like, you just want to like.
And Baylor has the same problem where it's just like, why are there more Texas fans here than Baylor fans?
Yeah. That didn't happen for a while. Like they had a
for
nice
a decade
run.
It didn't happen, but for the last
Then it like I remember this and it enraged Art Briles because he heard it on his way home. But he Mac Brown.
I would argue that Floyd Casey had been louder. I've seen louder crowds at Floyd Casey.
Casey was just such a dead zone though.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember this Mac Brown on his call because I was producing it. Mac Brown on his call-in show says. Well, we love to go to Waco because it's a great chance for our fans that can't get down to Austin to come and see us. And Briles heard it, and I go to the because he did everything he did was different. And so I went to the media availability the next day, and he's like, "Hey, you guys run that Mac Brown show, right?" I said, yeah, we do. And he's like, "What do you say about the attendance at Floyd Casey?" I said, "Oh yeah, He made some kind of joke about, or some kind of, it wasn't even a joke, it was just a comment, like, offhanded. And he's like, I told him what he said, and he was just like, just mad. Like, you could tell it just seeped into him. And, I mean, he was very angry about it. Yeah. He was very angry about it. And not at me, but just like.
In general.
Just in general, like that thought existed in the world. So. Yeah, there's some places that could be better. Like, look, the Coliseum's not in there, right?
Right.
They're not in there. The Rose Bowl's not in there. And I don't like UCLA, again, has not been very good for quite a while. I mean, they're okay. I mean, they're the paragon of the best seasons are, well, this is okay.
Yeah.
That was nice. But they haven't sustained anything. USC is in LA. So, like, LA and Miami are kind of similar in that like.
Well, it's tough. There's so much to do.
Okay, look, they say that. But there's a lot to do in a lot of places, and people show up.
A lot to do in Austin, yeah.
Okay, look, there's a ton to do in Boston, right? Mm-hmm. Fenway Park's always full. Patriots are always full. Like, the Celtics are always full. No matter, like, the Red Sox are starting to, like, play better now in the last couple of years, have maybe ended their sellout streak technically. But for the most part, like, there's a lot to do in that big-ass city. You know,
yeah, but they're also not filling up Boston College.
No, that's true. But Miami has the problem with the Marlins. They've even had the problem with the Dolphins. They've had the problem with the Heat. Like, the Panthers are sold out, but they just won the damn Stanley Cup. So they're front runner towns. So they're not if you give them any excuse to be like, well, I'm not going to go to this.
Traffic.
Yeah, traffic. All those things. Like, they're going to take that excuse. And so USC, if they're really good, they're going to always fill out, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. Mm-hmm. But if they're slightly less than really good, then it's going to be like, I don't want to go all the way down there. That's the excuse. But there are tons of things to do. Like, granted, look, it's not Lincoln or Gainesville or Tallahassee or Athens where when that thing's going on, that's the thing that's going on.
Right.
And good luck finding a cool place to go.
The town is built around the college, not the other way around.
So it's different, but. Pro and college sports experience this in big cities. So, there's lots to do in Seattle. They pretty much show up for the for the Washington games. Like it's mostly about your fan base and how much they really care. And the fact that, like, when things are good, it's really nothing that the fans did. Like, they have to. But, like, in Lincoln, like, when it's and it's unfortunate that Lincoln's not on this list either, because, like, I still think it's a tough place to play, even though they've sucked for a very long time.
I think they're also taking into account, which doesn't make sense, why South Carolina would also be on the list, which is kind of our big bugaboo about this whole thing, is like, why are they on the list given relative to success? It's a sliding. I think the game is going to account, like I said earlier, a sliding scale of success into this as well too. So if Nebraska is good, you could see another iteration of this game being like Nebraska number 10.
I would think, like, just outside the top 25 are going to be some of the schools we mentioned. We did mention Tech, which their fans are rabid. And they love it. Like,
have
that's
really
their whole
great
thing.
arms.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
All of them have cannons. It's crazy.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is just the best of them.
Yeah.
he's just
all of the fans can throw 90 miles an hour. That's crazy.
Absolutely. So there are great places. Like, and again, we're nitpicking about the top 25. I just wish it wasn't half of one conference. Well,
it's the same with everything, isn't it?
Like, the SEC has just permeated everything.
Yeah.
And congratulations to them for their marketing working. And I do think it's like, they've become to college football what Kleenex is to tissues.
Yeah. SEC is college football.
They are, like, they've made people think that when, like, look, there's also puffs.
Yeah.
Puffs are fine. There's plenty of good, like,
puffs have lotion in them. That's
crazy.
Exactly.
Like, puffs are fine. You don't all have to be Kleenex,
I was just racking my brain for the other brand of Kleenex.
Exactly. And look, Kleenex might own puffs. I don't know. Yeah. Like, it's all a big, they're all big
it's all
corporate
owned by
overlords.
Johnson & Johnson.
It's all owned by the same, what was the line in Parks and Rec in the last season when it's like, Google, proud to be one of America's 4 companies. Whatever it was. Like,
Chipotle, Exxon, Verizon. Proud to be one of America's 7 great corporations.
Yeah, that's right.
Something like that.
Yeah. Like, that's what it was right there, where there's just so many. And
you've seen those maps of, like, what everything is owned by.
Yeah.
It's just 3 big blue circles.
Yeah.
And it's just all anyway.
Yeah. No, that's where we are. So, like, I might say it. There might be somebody who's like, listen, Puffs is its own thing. Okay.
Right.
They've been fighting the Kleenex monster for years. Kleenex tried to do a lotion tissue, and we took their ass down.
Greg Puffs is sitting somewhere in a boardroom right now, going, "Damn it! How do we figure out this Kleenex thing?"
Look, if they get Avengers on the box, you know what we do? We get the Justice League. All right, we're not gonna mess around.
Mr. Puffs, I don't know if you know this. The Justice League movie failed. Damn it!
Who can we get?
Yeah.
They have a deal with Disney. We'll make a deal. We'll make a deal with Fox. And Disney owns it. Yeah. Come on.
You're fired.
My father, Herman Puffs, didn't start this company to lose. That's what I'll tell you right now.
So stupid. I love taking brand name and then putting George in front of it.
Yeah, did not start this company. All right, when we come back, there was another big college football meeting last week in scenic Naples, Florida, just 20 miles south of where I grew up.
Was it at a retirement home?
It was at the Ritz-Carlton. It's at the Ritz-Carlton, which I've been there. It's quite lovely. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely hotel down there in Naples. And I kind of want to be a college football commissioner just so that, like, come on down and stay at the, they just give me the commissionership of any D1 conference. If I get 4 days at the Ritz,
I feel like you're only here for the zip line.
Exactly. I don't care. Like, hey, did you, how'd you vote on this? How'd you guys want me to? There's
free shrimp.
Have you seen the seafood tower in here? Like, they're all paying for it. I ordered 7 of them. You guys come on down. Like, look, SEC, Sankey's paying for this.
Yeah.
Okay? Look, we're going to, they're going to try to take money from us and pay their players. All right.
Another round of crab cakes, Commissioner.
We're going to see how many lobsters we can pull down in 3 days. All right? We're going to Kevin McAllister this bitch. That's what they're going to say right now. So when we come back, the P4 inevitable split off. It's coming. And they even have meetings while the other conferences are just standing outside going, wonder what that's about. So, like, hey, just wanted to, this me, Dan from the Sun Belt, just want to see, is this a thing? Like, no, Dan, we're just having a quick little thing.
Close the door. Who was that?
yeah. Okay. And then Dan goes back to the other ones. Is like, I don't think that's good. So we'll talk about that next. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back. And by the way, Matt Brown of Extra Points joins us on the main show today, on the big show, and he'll talk plenty of video game stuff, and I will get down. He's got a lot of inside, Can
you give me a
sources. Code? No, but he can, however, give us maybe some insight on, why is South Carolina on this list?
Shout out to him. I hadn't followed any of his stuff before y'all interviewed him, just can be completely candid. Mm-hmm. But he has owned that story from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And being on that corner, it's such a cool corner to be on because it's such a huge story. And people were covering it tertiary to their other stuff. Yeah. But he was just like, no, I have to own this.
Yeah.
And it's worked out for him. He's getting a huge following off of that. That's a really really cool thing to be like, I'm just going to this one specific thing.
Yeah. And he's one of the best.
And he does a bunch of other stuff, but yeah.
One of the best writers in college football. So it's also great that he is on of all the he could very well have not cared about it. That's the other thing I think is kind of good for all of us that are fans of the video game. Is one of the and a lot of the really great writers are all excited about it. We all grew up with it, right? But he's one of the better and more interesting writers who can get who knows how to go into mundane details and explain things that make them interesting as opposed to just random oh, here's how it is kind of a deal. So yeah, I think it's been fortunate that we've got Matt Matt's there writing about it and has been so out front of it.
Well, the audience may disagree about video games in general, but I think we're all at the age now that we are in the media, the people that played these games that care about them. Yeah. So it's going to be it's going to be the biggest video game story of the year.
Yeah. It's huge. And again, it's
one of the biggest college football stories of the year too.
It'll pale in comparison numbers wise to an update of Fortnite, but
again, or even Madden. People still, it'll blow Madden out of the Madden still blows this out of water. So does FIFA or whatever, but it still will be probably top 5 selling video games on the year. We cover video games on a show called The Uplink at KWTX, which you should check out.
Okay, there we go. Well, we'll do that.
Yeah, anyway.
Absolutely. I didn't know about that show until just now. See, that's what happens.
Yeah, with
the inundation of media, and that's something that you do, and you host this show with me once a week.
So many things, it's unbelievable.
I believe it. So. Ross Dellinger, who is on top of everything college football wise. As a matter of fact, we had what I think was like a 30-day streak of Ross Dellinger leading off our show with the articles he'd written or things he'd talked about. So his column from yesterday was about this meeting down in Naples at the Ritz, and that there's a bunch of other Division I colleges, whether it's FCS or G5 or whatever you want to call them, that are kind of out of these meetings now. The P4 are kind of determining things on their own, and they know how it's going. They cannot also sustain and opt into the things that are going to have to be. So they've got to come up with a new structure.
Well, they don't have the money.
They don't have the money. They don't have the fun. Look, if you're if you're a small school with 5,000 students, but you happen to be a Division I FCS athletic program, that's great for you, but you can't just all of a sudden be like, oh, good. If I own, Paul Catalina's Burgers, I can't just decide you know what? I'm taking those Wendy's people down.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm going to run with Wendy's, all right?
Just need a foothold in there. They just need to invite me to the meeting,
Yeah, just get me in the door, and I'll be like, listen, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Shake Shack, you guys In-N-Out, Whataburger.
Child's play.
I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
They're how many stores do you have? One. In Altadena, California. Just one.
But people love it, though. People that love it.
But I'm going to tell you, when I open my Rancho Cucamonga and Rancho Mirage locations, you are you're going to be quaking in your boots. I have a good
Your
lead.
foundations will crumble.
I have a good lead on a former Hollywood video store that they're thrilled to give me since it's sat vacant for 15 years.
There's a DVD of Candyman still in there.
Yeah, but that's how it is. If you're Tarleton State, if you're
I was going to say
any of these other conferences or schools,
just take the ones in Texas that just recently went out. Sam Houston, SFA. I love those schools. And
SFA decided to go back.
Yeah, Sam Houston especially, who had a really down year after dominating not Division II, but FCS. And I love Sam Houston State. A lot of people that I know, I grew up 30 minutes from the front door of that campus. Yeah. But the thing is, it's even though it's a larger school in the state, it's a state-run school now, or always has been, but and they have a pretty decent enrollment. They just don't have the money. The money isn't there in Huntsville to sustain competing with, even the TCUs and Baylors of the world. Mm-hmm. It just isn't. Yeah. And that's tough because I think they deserve, that football program has been run so well at the FCS level. I think they deserve their shot to continue big-time college football, and those fans love that football team in that town. They just don't. They don't have the juice. It's unfortunate.
You can't Huntsville, Texas is not big.
No, it's not.
It's not big. It's not they've got a couple things that they've got. Sam Houston State. They've got a very large prison. Yeah, a very, very large prison. They've got a gigantic statue of Sam Houston coming out of the woods to wreak havoc. Yep. It's the kind of thing that looks like you're oh, we better get Godzilla to fight him.
Yeah. By the way, if you've never passed that on I-45 and you're just kind of driving and you're just kind of what the?
It does. It looks like the way they've got it set up because it's just on the interstate. It's not in town.
It's in a field next to the woods.
Yeah. It's just there and it's gigantic and it looks like he's coming out of the somebody has awoken him from his slumber, and he's come out of the woods, and he's like, ah!
I'm here to make us a republic again.
Yeah, yes. Ah!
Statehood.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Beautiful statue.
I love this line from the Dellinger article is, those who are in the room were limited to the 5 men, NCAA President Charlie Baker and Commissioner from SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10. Not in the room, the other 28 Division I commissioners who milled about the first floor of the resort, wondering whereabouts of the other 4. In one, I didn't even know they were meeting, said one.
Yeah, and that's how it's going to be.
Crazy.
And look, I don't blame Jim Phillips and Brett Yormark for making sure that they're in every meeting going forward, because
there's a world where they get excluded from this also.
The Big Ten and SEC decided hey, we're going to meet and solve these problems ourselves, and then the Big 12 and ACC be like, oh, whoa, we'd like in on that. We asked Brett Yormark about that. He's like, no, I feel like he gave us the political answer. But look, I would, and he even said like, yeah, we can't have a lot of these things that are just determined by these two. Sorry, my watch got cut off on the mic cord. But
so is this is looking more and more like a European Soccer Champions League thing to me, where, you know, if you're in, you're in, and if you're not, it's hard to get in. Obviously, you have to start, you know, winning your leagues of your thing to be in that tournament. Yeah. But, you know, it seems to me like, yeah, those four are going to be their own thing. Mm-hmm. What that will be called, will that be called NCAA football?
Yeah.
Or college football? I don't know.
But they have to be at this point, right?
Right.
Like, you almost have to be, because
like the NCAA has no other choice but to just make this is college football. Like, but then what does that mean for the other 100 schools that aren't in this thing?
Yeah, so, I mean, they're gonna have to re-tier it.
Yeah, re-tier. Like, is there a relegation system? Like, what happened?
Yeah, the relegation model came out and it was laughed off because, you know,
obviously,
and not because like mostly because it would undo a lot of the work. Like, the plan that came out would undo a lot of the work that the SEC and Big Ten and these conferences have done to get so gigantic. Right. That, like, well, I mean, we just did all this work and now we're going to send everybody back. Like, no. Like, yeah, like the SEC is not going to send Texas and Oklahoma back over here, so we have a Big 8 Southwest Conference hybrid.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, it's, you know, even to the point where it's like, if Baylor has another 3-8 season or whatever it was, 3-9 season, they're not going to give up their seat at the table to UTSA.
Exactly. So that, like, the relegation would only happen in the, like, that G5 league, right, where people would come in and out, and then, like, but none of the original, like, none of the power conference teams
will ever drop down.
Yeah. So, like, then you have one league that's relegated and one league that's not. And while I think that was an intriguing and interesting idea, it's a non-starter because, again, like, you know, if I'm the Big Ten and I just, like, scrounge to get all these teams from the West Coast to keep pace with the SEC who have been essentially picking off the Big 12 for the last 15 years, like, you know, and if I'm the Big 12 and I went and made these moves to make sure that I was still relevant, I wouldn't be like, well, no, I'm not giving UCF back. Like, they've got a lot of potential. I'm not giving BYU back. I'm not giving Colorado back. Yeah. Like, we're not doing, like, you can't have Dion all of a sudden. Like, no, we get Dion. Like, we made that deal. We get him. Like, you know, it was an important deal. Like, we want that.
This is basically, we're just reverting back to the days of, like, the AFL and the NFL.
Yeah. So, like, that's where it's going to be broken off. And Joe Moglia, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, who is
like, there's going to be a group of 5 champion, probably.
He said that, like, there needs to be, he said, amateur, like the amateur division and the professional division. Now, look, in the amateur division, you can still make money from NIL. Like, you can still transfer. You can move up. You can move down. Like, whatever you want to do. Like, all those rules can still be in place. But if you're going to be the professional division, you're going to be the one that pays that money, you know, part of your revenue share. Yeah. Like, the larger part, and the rest of it's going to be different.
You have to meet a certain threshold of what you pay players or can pay players.
You're going to have to do that. And that's even going to be more complicated. You know, we had Darren Heitner, who's a NIL sports attorney, on yesterday, very, very well-known one, and said, like, look, if they're already going to put a cap on it, they're going to get sued for that too. So if they say, you know, they're going to get $20 million of the revenue, they're like, well, why 20 and not 30? Mm-hmm. Like, what if
the players? You mean?
Yeah, the players. Yeah. So it's gonna keep going. So they've got to come up with a new idea that they can get multiple people on board with quickly, and I think that's where the Power Four starts meeting with each other, because you only have to get 67, 68, 70 people on board that way. Right. You know, so if you get 70 people on board
instead of 135,
and then you throw out, like, hey, look, Memphis, Boise State, USF, you know, San Diego State. Like, if any of you guys want to jump into this,
meet this threshold.
This is the financial threshold you'll have to be at, and then it'll force them into going, like, well, we just can't do that, and then they're like, okay, well, you know, once every 8 years we can, you know,
come back to the table.
We can come back to the table and talk about it, because then there might be schools that try to do it. You know, I'll just throw out one like Wake Forest. Yeah. You know, Wake Forest, a small, you know, private Baptist college. Like, they've done well. They have the TV money and all that, but, like, maybe they just can't operate at that level. And they're like, well, we got to go. And then, like, USF is like, we'll come in. Yeah. You know, like, we'll take their spot. We've been working on it, you know. And again, that's just a purely hypothetical thing, because there might be some schools that are in that 70 that go, like, I know that we've got this TV money coming in. I know we have this. I know we have that. But, like, I just don't see like long term how we can sustain this.
Financially viable. I mean, something like Arizona. Where is it? Arizona State that's in debt.
Arizona.
You know, like obviously they're a big time school, but are they going to be like, we can't meet that threshold because we're $100 million in debt or whatever it is?
But I think to schools like that, it's all
funny money.
I mean, like, okay, you're in debt. You know, A&M was in debt a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like, and then hired a new athletic director, you know, trimmed here, then there, joined the ACC or the SEC, and then like all of a sudden it's
Bing,
like,
bang, boom.
Yeah, you know, like, oh, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stop spending this money on this thing that makes no money, and we're gonna, you know, start
get rid of the helicopter.
Yeah, that
came after.
Now they have like 7 of them. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like each position coach has his own helicopter. Like, hey, I've got to go to Tulsa and recruit a safety. Like, take number 4. Numbers 2 and 3 are getting a wash, and number 1's out with a coach. So take number 4 on up there. You know,
if that doesn't work, number 5 needs gas, but we'll be okay.
Yeah. You know, you can if you're uncomfortable with that, if the pilots aren't there, we'll just fly you first class. We'll get one of those international flights with the pods.
Yeah.
You can just be in there for the 90-minute flight to Tulsa. But yeah, I think that it's coming. It's just coming, and it has to. Like, and I hate it for everybody else because again, all you did to deserve this was be Toledo, right? Like to just be yourself. Like you know, you can't.
Yeah, be Tulsa, literally.
Yeah,
you know.
like you can't. You know, like you know, we just kind of were here and doing our thing and operating in the world that we knew, but again, we're Toledo. We're not going to explode. You know, we're not going to, you know, Grand Valley State's just all of us going to be like, oh, hey, people really like it up here in Michigan. We're really going to double down. You just can't. So,
well, I think there's opportunities also for these networks or streaming services to make money off of what will become, I said the AFL, the NFL, you know, back in, when was the merger? In the 70s?
The late 60s.
Late 60s. There was an AFL champion, you know. It's like there was an NFL champion. There wasn't a Super Bowl yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's room to, you know, obviously they aren't going to be as excited probably if they somehow made it to the playoff, like who was the team that that I'm thinking of. Cincinnati, sorry, yeah. That made it to that, we got a seat at the table. We have this opportunity in the playoff to actually win a real national championship.
Yeah.
I think I say that with air quotes because I think there's still an opportunity for those group of 5 teams to form and then we're the group of 5 champion. You call it something better than that, obviously, and you still get that kind of juice from that. And look, I would watch a televised championship game between, name a team, UTSA and San Diego State.
Yeah.
I would definitely watch that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, will those fan bases still be like hip, hip, hooray for that? I don't know. Will you be laughed off of Twitter for being like, oh, we won the group of 5 championship? Who's to say? But I do think for me, it is in their best interest to sort of group together and form what will be a quote unquote lower conference to then play a championship game of their own.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to.
It's coming. I think we just need to brace ourselves for it.
And then that champion plays Michigan. Or whoever wins the championship.
Well, see, here's the thing. Michigan will have no motivation to be like, well, no, we're not going to play them.
Yeah, they won't.
Like, we're not going to do that because, like, what if we suck that day? Yeah. What if we suck that day? Like, that's the thing. Like, we're probably not going to suck that day, but, like, we could suck that day. Like, you know, I could not get the guys to take it seriously. They could all get, you know, drunk on Bourbon Street and, you know, Janikowski the hell out of this thing. And then, you know, we've got a problem. So when we come back, I want Royden's thoughts on Thursday's NBA draft. Well, I guess it's Thursday and Friday. NBA draft.
What a misstep. Anyway, sorry.
Welcome to ESPN. This is the second round of the NBA draft.
All the people that you really cared about from the games you didn't watch.
Do you care about the third best player in Australia? We know you do. Hey, are you not named Fran Fraschilla and watch basketball in Lithuania? Then this round's for you. We've got it for you here on the second round of the NBA draft.
On ESPN 8.
The Ocho. When we come back, Royden's thoughts on the NBA draft. This is 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Special thank you to the sponsors you just saw, UPN, who keeps us on the air every day with their internet, and Coffee Bros. They sent me some coffee that I gave to I'm not a coffee drinker.
Really?
I just can't do it. It's
Could have fooled me.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Thought you were getting that in the main vein.
No. I just don't. I wish I did like it. But Coffee Bros, I bought some Costa Rican coffee, bought some coffee. They sent me some Costa Rican coffee for my mother, and now she has demanded a refill of it because she had her buddies over playing cards, and all the old ladies are like, "This is the best coffee ever." So,
little cribbage, little bridge.
I don't know what they play. It's not either of those two.
Oh.
Something else. I don't know.
My grandmother has some historic bridge tournaments.
Yeah. So, they have a group and they rotate through whose house hosts it. The last time it was there, I had dropped off the coffee and told her, "Hey, give me an assessment of this so I can talk about it on the air." And it's my mom, who is an absolute coffee fanatic from the day she was 9 years old. So, she's an expert. So
yeah, Coffee Bros. I'm always for sale. I will take coffee every day of the week, actually. You cannot send me enough coffee.
They send you I don't even have a bean grinder. She had to, she has all that technology at her place. I'm surprised that her, she doesn't have a whole essential Starbucks kitchen in her house because she has, we go to different places. She's from the generation that still has coffee after dinner.
Oh, my grandfather though too. Yeah, it's the same. My grandfather, my parents, I kind of do it to an extent, but no, it's do you have decaf? No, it's fine. Give me whatever. And it's just 7:30 at night.
It doesn't affect me like it affects.
Just go to sleep.
Yeah, normal people. I'm fine. I've been doing it my whole life. This is just I'll have a triple espresso and fall asleep. That's how they are. But anyway,
not a care in the world.
NBA draft is on Thursday night. The first round of it is. Going to be a lot of foreign players taken, I think, in the first
a lot of
20
French
picks
people.
or so. A lot of French, a couple of Australian guys. Yeah. France is doing very well in the wake of Wemby.
Why? What did he do?
Keep denying it. Keep denying it.
Last time I checked, they lost 60 games. I don't know what we're talking about.
Well, all they got to do
is he's unbelievable. It's
all they got to do is.
I hate that the Spurs also just have another generational player. It's just, dude, come on.
Yeah, they just got to.
They keep going from generational center to generational center.
So they've got Wemby. They've got Sohan, who's going to be the Horace Grant. The kind of do everything guy.
Good pool.
The Robert Ory.
I was going to say Robert Ory.
The Bruce Bowen. That kind of a player.
He's actually kind of a better scoring Rodman. He doesn't rebound like Rodman did. Nobody does anyway.
Yeah, nobody does. But I saw an interview with Sean Kemp the other day that said that when they lost to the Bulls, their biggest deal was Rodman. they had no answer for Rodman.
Yeah.
So like
he's like 6'7" and he got 20 rebounds a game.
Yeah,
How's that
they
possible?
just said he had no answer for him. That was the thing that befuddled them, because when they would have Jordan and Pippen kind of like, okay, we've got them taken care of. They're struggling. Well, like Rodman would just get the rebound and either put it back real quick or
kick it
out. And like, it didn't matter that Jordan missed 6 shots in a row.
Yeah.
The 7th started a 12-0 run, right? Like that was just how it was. But you're a big Rockets fan.
Yep.
They hold the 3rd pick.
By the grace of God.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of Reed Shepherd. I'm seeing a lot of Donovan clinging to them.
Yeah.
What do you want to see them, at least position-wise or dude-wise, get?
Reed Shepherd, probably. I mean, they got the expiring contract of Steven Adams. I think he's going to play. He was hurt, but like every team that Steven Adams, go look at his career trajectory. Every team that Steven Adams plays for ends up kind of making the playoffs, usually. Just because, I think he'll be a great backup center to whatever, Shingu. They got a lot of decisions to make on what they want to do with their young players, because eventually you're going to get to the point where it's like, who is the guy here? And they went 41 and 41. They're going to be everybody's hot pick at like plus 250, 2,500 to make the playoffs. But I think they need shooting on the outside where they would get into a pickle a little bit last year, is that they would do everything right. They played really, really good defense, and then they would just brick threes. And it's just like, I think you need somebody. Reed Shepherd, according to all the metrics, now he could come in and just not be able to dribble, kind of like Jimmer Fredette or whatever, and be, another white point guard is my go-to. But, all the metrics say that Reed Shepherd is a better shooter than like Steph Curry coming out of college, which, you watch those final games that they played and who'd they lose to in the upstart team that the guy made 1,000 threes.
Oakland. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You watch that game versus Oakland and you swear, shouldn't we just draft that other guy?
Well,
that 25-year-old?
So
if he's the shooter.
Yeah. We had the coach on after that like literally after that win. And I said, do you not let him shoot like twos? And he's like, yeah, he's only shot 5 all year. And
he made 1, 2.
Yeah, he's like only shot 5. I said, he's only shot 5 all year. Is he that? He's like, I tell him when he shoots a 2, he's gonna sit down. I was like, okay, well that's
I mean, apparently Reed Shepherd has the best shooting metrics: standing, moving, catch and shoot. He's shooting like 50% in college over all those things. He's a little undersized, but the thing is, he's also, his metrics on blocks and steals are really good too. I think they need somebody that, because Amen Thompson, for as much as I love him on defense and rebounding and his ability to get to the basket, he may not be a true point guard. And I think they need somebody that they can get rebounds and kick out to, that can knock down those threes. That being said, Klingon, if they don't keep Steven Adams, is a high floor 7-foot option, which is like, he's a little bit better scoring and a little bit more developed that way than, Steven Adams was, but it is, he has a high floor, very low ceiling, I think, for Klingon, which sometimes you just need. But could he come in and average 10 and 10 if he started? Maybe. I don't think he'll ever get to the point where he's a 22 and 10 guy in the league. I just don't see that. Yeah. But, at 4, who knows?
But this is like one of the most ambiguous drafts ever.
Really is. People are calling it some kind of like the worst draft since, I think, the 2001.
And look, usually sometimes in those, like, that's where like some of the best players of a generation come out of, because you're just like, I mean, we got the 19th pick. We'll take that guy. He's a good shooter.
Oh, Kobe Bryant, 12th.
And then you're like, oh, well, what do you know about that? That's turned out really good. You know, like, I think, like, and maybe I'm biased because we saw him play every single game, you and me, but I think Jacoby Walter's going to be one hell of an NBA player.
Yeah.
Because he's just got those things that he's got some things he's not good at yet, but he's 19 years old.
Right.
And he also is, but he has that kind of, I can make 10 threes in a game in him that, like, a lot of the people in the draft just don't have.
Right.
Like,
The problem is that he's going to slide. Like, there's a point last year where Jacoby Walter was going to be a top 5 pick. Mm-hmm. And the problem is he just kept bricking shots, and he also kind of can't dribble with his left hand. But other than that, you know, he does have the ability. His metrics outside of, you know, and he works hard on defense. His shooting metrics indicate that he actually just may be better once he gets in the gym for a pro team at shoot those spot up threes that everybody loves, corner threes especially. He may just be a better pro than he ended up being a better college. And he was a good college player, but you know.
Well, if you're only in college for 1 year, it's hard to get better at the things in college that you're not good at. If you're just going to leave and go to the pros, it's now their job. So he's
a good free throw shooter and everything else. Where it was like where Davion Mitchell came out. They have him projected, by the way, Jacoby Walter to the Kings, which would be interesting. Yeah. But, you know, Davion Mitchell came out and he's like, oh, he's shooting 35% from three and yada, yada. But he's also shooting like 65% from the free throw. You know, Jacoby Walter's an 80% free throw shooter. So there's metrics there to suggest that he's going to be good. Also, he's 6'5", and he's going to put on weight.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Later on, in about an hour, you're going to see a fun show today. We've got Brian Haney, voice of Kansas football. Brian Haney, the voice of KU football. Todd Whitten, Tarleton State football coach. Matt Brown, aforementioned. Craig Smokes, off the radar. And John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist with us. And, of course, my top 5. That's all coming up today at 3. Thanks to Royden. Retired stockbroker, who's a great guy who gave me that mug. I was going to drink out of it today, but my water's frozen from our freezer fridge that we have here, so I couldn't pour anything into it. So it would have just been one of those like fake talk show, So I didn't do that, but thanks to Retired Stockbroker. He said the next time you're in Livingston, come see him in Point Blank, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and 5 other people.
Yeah. He said stop on by Point Blank.
That's exactly where that is.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Jack. Bye.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.